This is my EDU 503 Week 4 Assignment 1 case study presentation. I chose Podkin versus Misha. Um, so this happened in 1994 in a St. Louis County school. So I thought it was kind of cool to pick a school that was kind of near where I'm at right now. Um, so an overview of this case, Edward Podkin, he appeals Misha's eligibility standard regarding the age, which is by law 232. Um, so Podkin, he was held back in first and third grade due to a learning disability. Um, it was actually undiagnosed until he was held back that second time. So he would turn 19 before the July 1st cutoff date between his junior and his senior year. So this means that due to Misha's eligibility standards, Podkin would be ineligible for his senior year because he would turn 19 before the season would start. So he sought for a waiver of the age requirement based on his disability. So the plaintiff, Edward Podkin, he challenged the age limit set by Misha that it violated Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act and Title II of Americans with the Disabilities Act. So, due to his learning disabilities that were undiagnosed, he was held back and over the age limit. So, he was saying that Misha was in violation of Section 504 and Title II because of his disabilities. So, Podkin, he used baseball as motivation to overcome his learning disabilities and also his mother's passing. It also stated in the case that he planned on going to a JUCO college, and this is one way that he could find financial assistance for college. Podkin, he met all of their eligibility requirements besides the age requirement. So he would not participate for more than 8 semesters. He had all the grades. He had everything else except for the age requirement. Um, Something else to note was that Podkin was actually small for his age. He was not physically at an advantage in sports. He was 5'8", 160 pounds. He also so he wanted to play baseball his senior year. He also wanted to participate in cross country and basketball, and he was not allowed to participate in either cross country or basketball, but was waived to play baseball. So, just some things here. Section 504, it states that a person with disabilities should not be excluded from participation, be denied benefits, or be subjected to discrimination by a program that receives federal financial assistance. Title II prohibits discrimination by public entities against individuals with disabilities, which Title II is very similar to Section 504 with all of its laws and stuff. So he was seeking that Misha could not deny him based on his disabilities that he had because he did not meet the age requirements. So the defense was Misha, Missouri State High School Athletics and Association, Activities Association. So Misha is a voluntary private organization. So all high schools, they apply to become part of Misha, and it's a private organization. So Misha does not receive federal funds; it receives funding from schools, while schools can receive federal funding. So, kind of back before, the Section 504 and Title II relates from a federal financed entity. Well, Misha is not federally financed, so kind of those regulations and those laws kind of don't apply to Misha. Um, so Misha's defense was their bylaw 232, which is their age standard, which a student athlete participating in athletics cannot turn 19 before July 1st of their senior year or at any time. This disallows competitive advantage for using older athletes in competitions. It protects younger athletes from harm, and it discourages athletes from delaying their education to gain maturity or experience. So basically, age standard is what it is because we don't want schools to get an advantage over other high school schools or athletes. If MISHA were to waive the age standard, the rule wouldn't be applied consistently from one student to another. It could lead to many other exceptions. So if they were to waive the age standard for Podkin, it would lead to a whole lot of other cases of MISHA just waiving the age standard where they strictly adhered to their eligibility requirements. They want people to follow their rules. So if they just start waiving these requirements, then it's not going to really do its justice. And so, in their defense, Misha never mentioned the disability when making their decision to not allow the plaintiff to play. It was strictly based on the eligibility standard. So it was never denying him um, the ability to play because of his disability. It was strictly based on the age standard eligibility, which they hold to their standards. They barely make any exceptions. So in the court findings, the district court granted a preliminary injunction and allowed Podkin to participate in his senior year. So basically, it was like a temporary restraining order. So this allowed him to play his senior year for baseball, and they were not the high school team was not going to forfeit any of their games, or the other teams wouldn't face any penalties. So it was kind of like just allowed this student to play his senior year. Um, so the court allowed him to play, but in reality, they should not have allowed him to. With waiving the age restrictions, this would not have been a reasonable modification for Podkin. Um, in the case study book, it says that he should not have been a qualified individual under either the ADA or Section 504. So, either way, he shouldn't have been a qualified individual. He should not have been given the right to play. So they should not have ruled in his favor. They should have struck to Misha's eligibility standards and not have allowed him to play. Some implications for an athletic director. So kind of just understanding your ages of all your athletes. Don't take it for granted. So I would assume that all athletes that come into high school are of age and would be able to play. So actually taking that extra step and checking everyone's ages, seeing when they will turn 19 or not be eligible. So checking all of your athletes' ages to make sure that they will be eligible. Another thing would be just to request petitions for Misha. I mean, whether it be age or any other eligibility requirement, request a petition. The worst thing that they'll say is just no, and it's better to be safe than sorry. So you want to make sure that you are ahead of it instead of allowing an athlete to play and getting in trouble for all of that and forfeiting your season. Another thing would just be to understand all eligibility requirements. So worst thing the MISHA can say is no. MISHA will grant some exceptions for transfer rules, academic rules, and some others. So just making sure that you do understand all these requirements so that way you're in the best boat for success.